I didn't smell it, but I think I'm used to it.
Maybe it's me.
Well, when I say good to see you, he has a wisecrack back. So
Oh, yeah,
figured
yeah.
I'd shake it up.
Ah.
Gotta stay one ahead of him.
Well, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Time
Good
for me
evening.
to start talking for a little bit.
Right.
So I pushed the record button, so we're either chit chat or talking, whatever it is. Alright, tonight is Mumonkan, Cohen time. Number 17 thereof. Usual drill, I will read it. I will pause and I will read it again more slowly with comments. So first, it's called The National Teacher Calls 3 times. The national teacher called to his attendant 3 times, and the attendant answered 3 times. The national teacher said, I thought I had transgressed against you, but you too had transgressed against me. So the commentary. The national teacher called 3 times and his tongue dropped to the ground. The attendant answered 3 times, and softening his light, he gave it out. The national teacher, as he got old and was feeling lonely, pushed the cow's head down to the grass to feed her. The attendant would not simply accept it. Even delicious food cannot attract a full stomach. Now tell me, how did they transgress? When the nation is at peace, men of talent are respected. When the family is well off, the children maintain their status. And the poem? An iron collar with no hole, he has to wear it. It's no easy matter. The trouble passes on to his descendants. If you want to support the gate and sustain the house, you must climb a mountain of swords with bare feet. So I see a lot of what? Alright, so again the point of the code is to find the point, to find that thing we get stuck on, to find the irreconcilable point, the point of non-duality, the unanswerable question. And to become that, to recognize that itself is truth. So the national teacher called to his attendant. In China, during this time, during the Tang Dynasty, it was normal for the emperor to say, you look like you're an important teacher, come teach me, come live in the capital and be the national teacher, be my teacher. And if you said no, you'd have your head cut off usually. It wasn't an invitation to refuse. So the national teacher, the guy who wrote this book says the national teacher here was Ichu, who was one of the disciples of Huinen, the 6th patriarch. So he was quite important. So this dates it to 700, 800 CE, something like that. So he called to his attendant. His attendant was like Ananda was the Buddha's attendant. The attendant is the person who helps, who carries the incense, who carries your books, who goes and gets the glass of water, that kind of stuff. There for all of the teachings, and he's usually a very advanced practitioner. Called to his attendant 3 times. Hey, attendant! And the attendant, he might be in another room, might be somewhere else, would come in and say, yes, master. Then later in the day, hey, attendant! And the attendant may be over there this time. He'd come in and say, yes, master. And the 3rd time. So first time it's like, okay, I get it. Second time, what's going on? The 3rd time the attendant comes in, so this guy's, what's going on? This guy's ill. I mean, something's just not right here. Calling to me 3 times. And the attendant answered 3 times, yes, master. When all that had happened, the national teacher said, I thought I had transgressed against you, but you too had transgressed against me. So there's really 2 points in here. What is going on with this call response? And what is the point about transgression? Transgressing, or another translation is letting down. I thought I'd let you down. Turns out you would also let me down. So the call and response brings to mind a couple of different things. Thing one, remember like at high school or somewhere where you were, maybe not even high school, I was a slow developer for most of it, was probably like middle school, when there was somebody you were attracted to and you wanted them to notice you. And you'd call out to your friend, not to the person, but you call out to your friend in a loud voice because you wanted them to hear you. It's like this strange stuff going on when you call out. So there's lots of different ways calling out can happen. Another way of calling out is I can't remember exactly what he said. In the Princess Bride, Princess Buttercup called Stable Boy, and what's his name?
Wesley.
Wesley would come along and say, yes. Stable Boy, yes. And Stable Boy, and he'd come and stand, I want that picture right there. So he stood right there, and he looked her straight in the eyes, and he reached up, picked it down, and gave it to her. And the narrator says, and it took her a long while to realize that when he was saying yes, he was saying, I love you.
As you wish.
As you wish, thank you, as you wish, as you wish, as you wish. He was saying, I love you. So that's a call and response. And another one is it's a story out of the Pure Land. It's a story out of the Pure Land tradition. So there's a woman who was kneeling down saying, Nam Wami Tuo Fo, homage to Amida Buddha, homage to me the Buddha, homage to me the Buddha. And her son or somebody called out and said, Mom! She said, what? Nothing, I'm just checking where you are. Okay. Nam Wami the Buddha, Nam Wami the Buddha, Nam Wami. Mom! What? 3rd time. Mom! What? Can't you see I'm doing my chanting here? Leave me alone. Come get me another time. Wow. I just called out to you 3 times and you're really angry. Are you calling out to this guy, Amida Buddha, 1,000 times? How do you think he's going to feel? So these call and responses, there's a lot that goes on. What this is really pointing at, who is calling? This is this relationship between the teacher and the attendant is a teaching relationship. So the teacher is teaching the student. And in the call, there's a lesson. What is that lesson? And in the call, asking for the response, there's a lesson in the response. What is this lesson? Who is calling? Will I call Clay or Beth or Belinda? Who's calling? There's nobody there. Nobody's separate from me who's being called. It's a oneness, but it's not this mushy toilet paper where there's just, utterly bland and tasteless. There is individuality, there is distinction, there is separateness within that oneness. There is aliveness within the oneness. This oneness isn't passive, it's vibrant and it's alive. So in the Zen tradition, there's this idea, which we've talked about before, of the young practitioner waking up and having this great awakening experience, and the abbot says, you have the essence but not the function. You have the taste of it, but you don't know how to use it. Go up to the hermitage on the hill and live up there for a little while until you figure out how to operate with this, which is how to bring it alive. You've had this descent into this, oh my goodness, this union, this oneness. And now you've got to come back with that into the world. You've got to ride the ox back into town and live with it. Not losing that oneness, but being alive within it, in it, and recognizing self and other within this oneness, this unity. So the call is from nobody to nobody. And it's an invitation to the person being called to wake up to this, to wake up to, it's actually their true nature that's calling them. In the Sanatana Dharma, in the Hindu tradition, you pay devotion to your guru, but it's not to the person. It's not to the person you bow down and kiss the feet of. You're paying devotion to the Satguru, which is the true guru. The divine nature, Buddha nature, the oneness within, which is the same oneness that's within you. That's this gesture, right? Self and other coming together, bowing to self and other. They're one, and yet they're still two. Oops. So he called out, and the person said, "Yes, Master. He did this 3 times." So the transgressing, the Master said, first time, I'm not sure he's getting it. I think he's getting it, I'm not sure. I'm going to try it again, just to be sure. In this tradition, that is called grandmotherly kindness. Sometimes grandmotherly kindness shows up as slapping somebody or hitting with a stick. Right? But this is grandmotherly kindness. It's overindulging. It's making a fool of yourself. Because he knows better. He knows far better than to call out 3 times. But he does it to help the student see this oneness. So he's overindulging. And the student actually gets it. And he doesn't need it. But the extent to which he doesn't need it goes beyond saying to the Master, "Thank you, Master. I got it. You don't need to do that anymore." He indulges the Master. So he's offering grandmotherly kindness back to the Master. He's allowing the Master himself to see the mirror of this oneness. He is the mirror for the Master to look into. So the Master knows, the national teacher knows that he is overstating his case. He knows he's overselling. So he thinks, "I thought I had transgressed against you. I did it with good reason. I made a fool of myself." And I'm acknowledging that. Turns out that actually you also made a fool of yourself. You were overindulging me. You were playing the same game. So they're both just in this together. The national teacher called 3 times and his tongue dropped to the ground. His tongue dropping to the ground is his overindulgence. It's pushing the lesson beyond where it needed to go. The attendant answered 3 times and softening his light, he gave it out. He responded in kind. He was also overindulging. The national teacher, as he got old and was feeling lonely, pushed the cow's head down to the grass to feed her. He was kind of trying to force feed the attendant. He was been doing this for a while. He was getting a little long in the tooth and a little bit tired in his practices and didn't care anymore. He was just really unwilling to do this. The attendant would not simply accept it. Even delicious food cannot attract a full stomach. The monk already got it. He didn't need the lesson anymore. It wasn't interesting to him. Now tell me, how did they transgress? When the nation is at peace, men of talent are respected. When the family is well off, the children maintain their status. This is the way things are. This is the way the world is. Everything is perfect. Do we need any of this calling? Do we need any of this responding? The nation is at peace. The family is well off. Enough. An iron collar with no hole in it. He has to wear it. The iron collar is a reference to something prisoners used to wear. The no hole, it's impossible to put on. This is like the the iron ox that the mosquito is not able to bite. Zen is full of these impossible statements. But he has to wear it. He's the teacher. He has to wear this yoke of teaching responsibility. He has to offer up the lessons, even though there's no way to put the collar on. And similarly, the attendant, he's in his place. He has to wear that, even though there's no way to put it on. It's no easy matter. The trouble passes on to his descendants. Well, I guess in this case the descendant is the attendant, so he's just passing the yoke down, passing the iron collar down. If you want to support the gate and sustain the house, you must climb a mountain of swords with bare feet. It is not easy work. It is not easy work.